Good morning, everyone. I will now call the hearing to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. This morning, I will be chairing the hearing. My name is Robert Hutchings. On my direct left is Lynn Nesbitt, and on my far left is Mr. Harvey Diamond. And the assessor representing the Assessment Taxation Department this morning is Mr. I. Darkanoff. And our secretary today will be Kelsey. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that the comparison of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by this Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties appearing here today as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed further to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessors have testimony, followed by cross-examination by the applicant and then the panel members, and then the applicant's testimony followed by cross-examination by the assessor and then the panel members. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions based on evidence presented here today. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And please, can everybody make sure their cell phones are turned off on silent so we don't have any interruptions, please, before we begin. Okay. First property on the docket today is going to be 107 Powder Ridge Drive. Mr. Paul's,
yeah.
Step forward and we'll have you sworn in or affirmed, whichever you wish. And the assessor also, please, Kelsey.
Would you like to swear in on the Bible or affirm without it?
I'll affirm.
Okay. Could you please state your full name for the record? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Could you please state your full name for the record?
Chris Pauls.
And would you like to swear in on the Bible or affirm without it?
Bible's fine.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Pauls.
Hello.
And I can take your evidence now.
Okay. Shoot 5 there.
Thank you.
So I think I dropped those off earlier. I'm not sure if they got read initially or.
No.
Okay.
It's the first time we've seen them.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay, so in summary, I'm not sure if you have appeared here before.
No, I've never.
Okay, so the process is going to be, I'll summarize it again, is the assessor is going to present evidence. You received a brief with your subject property detailed, all the characteristics in the first column, and then he's provided 4 comparisons of, in your case, similar bungalows, similar age. And he's provided, basically he'll be targeting towards the bottom on sales information. Time-adjusted sales price per square foot is his way of analyzing whether he feels the assessment is correct or not. If you look in your assessment information for 2020, there's an analysis of total assessments per square foot.
Okay.
on the bottom of the deed and any sales history. So he's gonna present his evidence, then I'm gonna ask you to question his evidence only.
Okay.
You'll have an opportunity when it's your turn to present your evidence, okay? But we'll start with the assessor making the presentation, then you'll question him, and then the
Okay.
board will, and then we'll go to your evidence,
Sure.
okay? Okay. Mr. Assessor, when you are ready, please.
Okay. So subject property with the parcel ID number 0309-1257400, street address 107 Calder Ridge Drive in Winden Ridge neighborhood, is a one-story single dwelling built in 2006 with 2006 effective age. Living area 2,094 square feet, full basement and 1,159 square feet for a basement finish. One full bathroom, 2 half bathrooms and 2 showers. Central air conditioner, 1 fireplace and 808 square feet for a attached multi-car garage. Lot size 8,028 square feet. No influences for the land. 2020 assessment is $685,000. Total assessment per square foot is $327.13. Comparable one is 6 Phantom Ridge in Winden Ridge neighborhood, and all of the comparables for the subject property are in Winden Ridge neighborhood. 0 one-story single dwelling. So with that, comparable number one is 6 Phantom Ridge, 2005 year built, 2005 effective age, 2,217 square feet, 1,499 square feet of basement finish with a full basement. 4 full bathrooms, 1 shower, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, 810 square feet for attached multi-car garage. Lot size 8,300 square feet, no land influences. Sold in August of 2016 for $825,000. Time adjusted sale price $874,500. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $394.45. Comparable number 2 is 80 Tangle Ridge, 2005 year build and 2005 effective age, 1,867 square feet with 1,230 square feet of basement finish with a full basement, 3 full bathroom, 1 shower, central air conditioner, 452 square feet for attached multi-car garage, 8,038 square feet of lot size with commercial adjacent influence. Sold in August of 2017 for $660,000. Time adjusted sale price is $674,500. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $361.47. Comparable 3 is 84 Tangle Ridge Crescent, 2007 built and 2007 effective age, 1,849 square feet living area, 1,190 square feet of basement finish with a full basement, 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, 440 square feet of attached garage, 8,036 square feet assessed lot size, and the commercial adjacent as an influence. Sold for $645,000 in September of 2017. Time adjusted sale price per square foot, time adjusted sale price is $657,600. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $355.49. Comparable 4 is 112 Tangle Ridge Crescent, 2006 year build and 2006 effective age, 2,303 square feet of living area, 1,082 square feet of basement finish, 2 full bathroom, 1 half bathrooms, 2 showers, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, 652 square feet of attached multi-car garage, 8,791 square foot full assessed lot size, and the commercial adjacent influence. Sold in January of 2018 for $665,000. Time adjusted sale price $669,000. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $290.49 per square foot. Subject property would, as you can see per evidence, has a larger garage, a triple garage compared when comparing comparable 2, 3, and 4 that have just double garages. So comparable 1 is the one with a similar size garage as subject property. Subject property per listing in 2010 and 2010 sale of $640,000. 2010 listing shows subject property as an upscale Huntington home bungalow that is luxuriously built with a 10-foot ceiling throughout, dramatic kitchen with black granite counters, darker tone maple cabinetry and floors, huge center island with raised bars, large eating area, dining room, deluxe master ensuite with spa style shower, triple garage. So those are just the things that were mentioned on MLS listings for subject property in 2010. So with that, I believe that the assessed value at $685,000 appears to be a fair assessment for subject property. Thank you.
Thank you, Arkham. Thank you. Mr. Pauls, any questions on the evidence that the assessor has presented so far?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think every house here is a little bit unique, right? There's some bathrooms, some places have 4 bathrooms, some are full. You know, mine's only has one full bath. I think those comparables are accurate, so
Okay.
that's fair.
All right.
You may have some other comparables, obviously, but
Sure, we'll get to that
Okay.
when you present.
I
Yeah,
gotcha.
okay. Okay. Lynn, any questions of the assessor?
Yeah, have you inspected the property, have you been inside?
No, I have not.
Okay, have you done a drive-by, have you looked at the outside?
The only thing I did is I looked at the information is based on the data on record and 2010 MLS listing and visual pictometry, that's all I did.
Okay, and in comparison to the other property, or the other properties, how would you describe the quality of those properties?
The properties on it's the ones that I presented as my 4 comparables. I would say that comparable number 1 would be close in garage size and type of luxury build, but
Mhm.
it's a bit bigger house.
Mm-hmm.
So and comparable 2, 3, and 4, they're all on the same street, Dangle Ridge Crescent. When I looked at the MLS listings on 112, they sold it as a huge price reduction.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say comparable 2 and 3, 80 and 84 would be more of a appropriate analysis of the value in the neighborhood, because they're smaller properties, but still they sold for $660,000 actual sale price and $645,000 actual sale price without any time adjustments for smaller properties of 1,800 square feet
Okay.
and smaller garages. So with that, I believe like all of those would have some luxurious items in it. I think subject property would probably be a bit more luxurious as far as interior finish goes, but again, that information is based on the 2010 MLS listings of the subject.
All right, so you haven't been in the other comparable properties, either just based on what you've seen in the...
No.
Okay. What is the commercial adjacent that's being referred to in comparable 2, 3, and 4?
To be honest with you, it seems like as of 2018, pictometry is just an empty field at this point in time. It is being developed into something.
It is being developed, sorry?
The plans perhaps are there to be developed, and that's part of the information probably property owner would be able to present, because in his evidence that he provided, he does provide that there are signs in place to build.
so they I'm not sure if I can speak here.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so they proposed a 3 or 4 story building, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So the neighbors sort of got together and we sort of fought it, and they sort of backed down from that. So I think they were trying to get a little bit higher than 3 or 4 stories, and I think it sort of came down to, we'd probably be okay with 3 stories or in that range. But like the challenge for us is that it's just an unknown, and the property's in sort of for sale
So
signs.
right now, there is a nothing there. Okay.
Nope, there's nothing there.
That's
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Lynn. Harvey, any questions?
Yes, do you have the assessment, the previous assessment?
The previous assessment of subject property for 2018 and 2019 was $650,000.
650?
Yes.
And that, there was no application on that, I understand. There was no application by the owner to,
To appeal?
Yeah.
I don't think so, no.
and the property was purchased by the owner in 2010 for $640,000.
Correct.
So it should be $305.64 per square foot at that time, according to my calculations.
I didn't do the math, but probably yes.
Okay, no further questions.
Thanks, Harvey. Okay, my questions are, so normally on the brief, it's showing the commercial adjacent on comparables 2 till 4. So that would give a snapshot of what was going on at the time of the sale. So at the time, I guess it sounds like there was a proposed commercial development at the rear of these properties, and that's why the commercial adjacent.
Exactly.
This would be a different commercial adjacent that you're looking at here. If you're talking about Tangle Ridge,
Yes.
that backs onto like Waverly.
I believe those Tangle Ridge properties back into the same commercial development that would be on the back of all the Ridge properties.
So there would only be 2 or 3 total homes that would back onto that.
And those are the ones, I believe.
I think you're, yeah, so there's, the community would back onto, part of the community would back onto sort of some commercial property that is between the residential and Waverly.
You know what, maybe I'm gonna ask the assessor. Can you give us an overview, a location of the subject property and those 3 comparables on Tangle Ridge?
Okay.
What are we talking about here? Are we talking in the corner of McGilvery and,
I will.
yeah, let's get an overview of where the location is, or the neighborhood is.
Okay, so, okay. So Powder Ridge would be just south of McGilvery.
Okay, and,
Just west of Waverly.
okay,
And north of Squarefield and east of Dovercourt.
okay.
So that's a general neighborhood. Now, within that, perhaps property owner is correct that 80 Tangle Ridge would back into a different commercial development.
Yeah, I think we're talking about 2 different things here. Like one is an existing commercial strip of properties that have been there for years.
So what are we talking here? Condos?
No, they're just like
Strip malls?
gas station or just some
Oh,
commercial buildings.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
But-
so there is no traffic influence, like, if it was backing on Waverly, for instance, there would be a medium traffic allowance or
Yeah,
heavy
no,
traffic.
no,
So
there-
it is a commercial influence in the way of apartments, condos, strip malls, gas stations, some kind of commercial.
Exactly, that's where they're backing into, but Tangle
Okay.
Ridge Crescent itself does not have the traffic influence.
Right, okay.
Single
So there-
story commercial.
Okay, so there is a strip mall, for instance, right behind it. Okay, so that's an accurate influence at the time of the sale.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I guess the last page of property owner's evidence kind of shows a map, and
Yeah,
that's
okay.
exactly.
Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah, but I think we have an understanding of where it is. Now, so we're dealing with the 2020 realty assessment here, which I forgot to preview. And it's reflective of 2018 market value
Correct.
for all the reassessments, or the assessments today, okay. Okay, so that's the commercial adjacent. And the home was built in 2006. Was resold in 2010 to the current owner at $640,000, okay? Any, and I think it sounded like you were reading from an MLS reflecting the condition or the
Quality,
characteristics of the
yeah,
home
exactly.
in 2010, okay, all right.
Can I ask one quick question about the assessor?
Yeah, rising, sure.
Yeah, so you had mentioned on comparable 4 that, so that's the one that's showing the lowest. And that one, you said there was like a large price reduction?
Yes.
And just for comparison's sake, that's the only property on here that actually backs onto the same property that I'm facing, that has the unknown of what's going in,
Okay, okay.
if that makes sense. So it's not actually backing on the same commercial property as property 2 and 3 here.
Okay,
Okay.
different.
Okay,
Different.
different
But-
commercial, yeah.
Comparable to me, because comparable 2 and 3 it doesn't have a reference to my property, but comparable 4 does, and that,
Okay,
the assessors have just had a large price reduction on it.
okay. Noted, okay. So just to understand, that was vacant land at the time of, we're gonna look at comp 4. To your knowledge, that was vacant land there was a proposed commercial development there. It sounds like the homeowner or the neighborhood was fighting whether that would be allowed. And it sounds like there might have been an adjustment done to the proposed development, but at the time of sale in 2000 and, where are we? 2018. There was that influence behind there, but it hadn't been developed as yet. Is that fair?
I would not be able to confirm
Okay.
which commercial adjacent comparable number for Jackson 2.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Pauls, when you are ready, please. You've got a presentation given to us, and if you wouldn't mind going through that, and then the assessor and we.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same. I'm not gonna walk through a property and sort of what's in each property, but there's 5 or 6 properties that have sold here in the last couple of years, and it just shows the price per square foot. Very comparable as the Fall Ridge home that I believe was a little bit more of a luxury home as well at the time. I believe it was a Huntington home as well. So yeah, again, there's 4 or 5 homes here that all have price per square foot sort of in that mid 200s to high 200s. And again, I can walk through each one, but if you look at
What I'd like you to do is highlight the house style of each one, the month and year that they sold, and your analysis on what they sold for
Okay.
square foot.
yeah, and I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm
No, that's okay.
but I live in the neighborhood and I've driven by all these a million times, right? So 14 Fall Ridge, house sold in 2017 for $295 a square foot. Very nice home, very similar to my style.
Okay,
30 Ocean Ridge Drive, sold in 2017. Probably would not be as nice a home as mine. Ocean Ridge is a very nice cul-de-sac, very quiet. There's no construction going on. 42 Castle Ridge would be a little bit more similar to my style of home. Sold in 2017, November 2017 for $294 a square foot. And then the one that we're sort of talking about is 112 Tango, which would be, I believe it's a Huntington home as well. Very similar to mine. I think it might be even a tad larger. Sorry, I'm just trying to find that. So that one's 200 square feet larger than mine, and that one's sold for $288 a foot. So it sold for $665, and this would be the main comparable because these guys back onto that the unknown property. So if you look at the last page, that inlet property is this 3-story commercial building. If I can show you here. So I'm here. I'll be facing whatever's going to be built here, and that 112 Tango Ridge would be right about here, facing this way. They're backing onto it this way. If that makes sense.
where was the 112, I'm sorry?
112 would be right about here,
Okay,
backing onto this property here.
okay.
So much more of a comparable to mine. They're backing onto it, I'll be facing it. There's also been talks about putting in like foot traffic here between the commercial buildings, so right across the street from my property. You know, so when I was looking at this, I had a real estate agent, Glenn Williams, who was actually my neighbor, which is good because he helped fight sort of this property, and he just sort of said like the value of your property is an unknown. If you were trying to sell it, and you would just, not an unknown, but just you know, you would lose certain type of audience if you put this up for sale right now. So it's just because it's an unknown. If they come back and they build something that's within range what the neighborhood wants, then we look at that value. But right now, it's just an unknown right now. So it's hard to know what's going to be put up there. But and then I think there was one last one there, but so yeah, this one I put this one in here too. This is 141 Laurel Ridge, higher than mine, just around I think it's around 340 square foot. But this backs onto a park, and at the time, park properties were about $50,000 premium. So yeah, I'm not backing into a park, and you know I have that unknown across the street, so it's.
Okay.
Is that what you're looking for? I've never done.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, well, I guess the obvious question is, based on your evidence, what value are you asking the board to adjust the assessment to based on your perceived negative influence of that
Yeah.
commercial development?
Well, I think it'd be fair to be in line with comparable for. You know, I think you said it yourself that price point in that house sat for a while on the market, and I think, you know, going to a full price reduction because of that unknown property that's going to be going in there, I think that's more of a comparable. The same home builder, you know, it's sold more recent than some of the other ones. Very similar style, but again, even a little bit bigger.
So you're asking us to take the 2,094 square feet times $288 a square foot to come up with a value?
Well, I think that'd be fair,
Okay,
because that's what's.
I'm just trying to
comparable.
calculate a number. I'm doing a little work for you here.
Okay, thank you.
So you're asking $603,000 approximately in estimated market value, okay? Is that fair? I don't mean to put words in your mouth.
Well, listen, I don't know this process works, so
Yeah,
listen,
well-
I'm here to just talk about what's out there. If there's a property that's sold for $280 a square foot, that's almost an identical house to mine, that also has that has to deal with that property, then I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, because what we're looking for, you're obviously here because you feel that $685,000 for 2020 is wrong. You're asking us to adjust it, and we're asking you to provide a number of what you think the market value is if it were on the market in 2018, and what you would agree to sell it for.
Okay,
Yeah, you know, because we're looking at
Yeah.
market value here.
sure.
So I'm
So what-
kind of stepping out of turn here, but.
Yeah, so my only
I'll ask
comment would be,
you.
like
Yeah,
I said, I'm not a real estate agent, but I would go based on comparables of my house,
okay,
where it, and the land that's adjacent to it.
okay.
I'm not sure if that's fair to say, but I just.
No, that's okay. I just thought I'd get that out of the way right away. We'll ask if the panel members probably have more questions. Mr. Assessor, any questions of the appellant?
Yeah, I do. So, the commercial, we'll start with the commercial development. Does your property backs onto a commercial development?
No, it does not. It faces it. It's direct sign of like, it's basically right in front of it. And this is where they're talking about putting a pathway, a walkway for the commercial property.
But would you agree that whatever the commercial development there is, we don't know what it is? And we don't
100%.
know how it's going to impact the neighborhood, whether it's going to be a
Exactly.
positive or a negative impact.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's a
I,
big unknown today and it's still an open field, correct?
100%. I mean, it's probably not gonna help the area. I mean, I'm not sure what land what they would build there that would help the area. There's more walking traffic and whatnot. I think it's pretty safe to say that they've been trying to get like I said, a 3 or 4 story building in there. But you're right, unknown at this point what's gonna happen.
So we cannot take it into consideration as how it's going to impact the valley, correct?
Correct. The only thing I could attest to is probably similar to property 4, where it's the unknown, which is why that property's out on the market for a while, which they have to do a price reduction for.
So again, going back to description to your property, your property was built to the higher standards. It's more superior, has higher finishes and larger garage, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'm not sure if we were supposed to be talking about finishes and stuff like that. Part of the assessment. I wasn't sure if the inside of it was taking into consideration.
So it does affect market value.
Yeah, okay.
And
But again, I would propose that it's almost identical, like same home builder as the one that property for.
And we already have comparable 2 and 3 that have commercial adjacent to them. They're smaller properties. I would even place them a bit inferior to yours, but would you agree that they sold at higher price per square foot than what your property is assessed at?
They did, yes.
Well, that's all I have.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and again, they have something behind them that it's not gonna change. I mean, it's already there. Someone's come in to buy that property, they know it's there. It's not an unknown for them.
Okay. Ms. Lynn, any questions of the
I do have a
appellant?
question. I just want to refer to your information on 112 Tangle Ridge Crescent, which is the assessor's comp 4. I'm a little bit confused. You have a sell date of, I think that's August 14th, 2017.
Okay.
The assessor has a sale year of 2018 January for that same property.
Okay.
So I'm curious, was there a second sale on that property?
Honestly, I'm not maybe it was put up for sale and then taken down. I apologize, I don't know.
Well, we have a sell date, of August 14th. Like, I'm just not sure. Was there a lag here or another sale? Like, I'm just trying to
Yeah,
understand.
again, our numbers are identical, right? So it's.
I can answer it.
Maybe.
Okay, you can answer.
So what oftentimes happens, and I don't think this particular listing has a possession date, but
Okay.
a sale may take place at a certain date when agreement to purchase is signed, but the possession date may be further down the line. So I think
Okay.
that perhaps that's most logical explanation.
Okay, so it's not a second sale, it's just maybe a delayed possession date.
Exactly. The dates that we have here are actually title transfer dates from land titles.
But while you're on it, just going on, there are 2 different sell prices. You've got 669,000. Well, that's time adjusted, I see.
Time
Okay,
adjusted,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
See, I was looking at all
Yeah.
that too, I was trying to figure this out. How did this work?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, then that just clarifies that question that I had. There's quite a big difference in time. so-
Yeah, it's a transfer probably.
Okay, thank you.
Registration, yeah. Okay, anything else, Lynn?
I don't think so, no.
Harvey, any questions? The appellant?
Yes, so you're comparable, the one that you're really basing it on is the assessor's comparable number 4,
Yeah.
and you're using that as well. It doesn't have a triple car garage like yours, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
And so you're basically asking us, though, to use that as a square footage basis to evaluate your property, saying your property's comparable even though you might have a superior garage.
Yeah.
And that would work out to, if we were to do that, I think we'd get a value of about 604,000,
Yeah.
which is actually quite a bit less than you actually paid for the house in 2010.
Yeah.
So are you saying your price of your house has dropped since 2010?
Well, I mean, the answer is I hope not. But if I'm looking at a comparable, I think that's a risk for me, for
No,
sure.
I'm asking you though a question, do you think that your house has actually dropped in value for what you paid for it in 2010?
I don't think so, but I think there's a chance that it has based on the comparables, so.
Okay, but you don't think so?
I'm not a real estate agent, I honestly,
And have you done anything to the property since you yourself moved in?
nothing major besides basic painting and,
Just
Put a
nothing,
deck on.
just cosmetic?
yep,
Okay,
nothing, you know, the carpets, we were talking about the inside of the, I mean, it's a nice house, but,
Yep.
you know, it doesn't have hardwood floors everywhere. You know, this house had hardwood floors everywhere, I know, I thought we weren't supposed to talk about the cosmetic part of it, so I apologize, but, because I've seen this house, the inside of it, bless you. But no, I haven't done anything to it besides cosmetic stuff.
okay, thank you.
And just to your other, you know, there's also a lot of other comparables in here that are in the high 200s in the neighborhood for similar type homes, so, you know, so that price point is matching up with those other homes, plus this one that's probably a little bit more of a true comparison.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Harvey. Okay, the first question is regarding this commercial development that's been hanging over the neighborhood. We're just on the south side of McGilvery, is that right? Or, pardon me, the west side of McGilvery? Your location? Or east
Just on the
side?
south side of McGilvery.
South side, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, McGilvery, right,
Yeah.
east and west, okay. Is there a service road on your map here? Or this is a street that would service that commercial building?
So, and again, I apologize, I should have a better indication of this, so if this is McGilvery,
Yeah,
the unknown, there is actually a road that's already been built here, like that's just sort of blocked off, like.
oh, I see, okay,
So there will be a road that comes in here, so more traffic flow here.
okay.
Although there's talk about it coming this way as well, so that would be a fight. We wouldn't want this, obviously, another service road into the neighborhood,
Okay,
which is one of the fights we had, which they've talked about maybe making a road this way.
yeah. Now, you've named the developer here and there's a sign up, but it hasn't been approved by Board of Adjustment to develop it?
I think they have approval to do something, and I think they're trying to get more. And I apologize, I think they had approval to build something, and then they wanted to go a little higher, and so that and then people appealed it, and it's been sort of, I'd say stagnant for about 5 years.
So are we talking about?
Besides the sign.
Are we talking about a condo development?
Yeah.
Oh, it is condos?
Yeah, the original,
Okay.
well, there's some condos, there was some commercial building, there was some office space. They had a proposal for a couple different options.
Okay, so we've got a commercial mix and condo
Yep.
development, okay?
Yep.
But it sounds like it's frozen in at
Yes.
the Board
Yeah.
of Adjustment, I guess, or is it?
I think, I mean, again, I don't own the land, but I think the landowner is sort of just taking a backseat on that property, just sort of let it sitting there for a bit.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, honestly, it's just field of geese.
And as far as you know, it is zone commercial? The land?
I don't know actually how it's zoned.
Okay. And this is a bit of a tough question. All the comparables you've shown me, or us, pardon me, have sold in 2017. If you noted, the assessor does a time adjustment to April 1st, 2018, because in their opinion, their analysis, market evidence went up over that time frame. I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you think that a time adjustment is warranted upwards on those 2017 sales? Maybe it's unfair to ask you.
Yeah, I don't know. This is, the challenge with this area is it's a very small area. Like Lynn Ridge is a small area, it doesn't have a school, doesn't have a community center. So there's actually not, it's not like there's a million scattered homes that sort of get sold. You can adjust, there's only a few properties to
Yeah, okay.
assess it. Homes in this area sit on the market, and some sell on the same day.
Okay. And my last question is, I think we agreed that you were asking, the estimated market value should be $603,000. I guess my question is, if you were to put it on the market in 2018, would you have accepted the $603,000 to sell it?
I'm not sure that's a fair question, because I'm not looking to sell. Probably not, yeah, to be honest.
Okay, that is all my questions. Mr. Assessor, any required for a summary?
Yes. So, to summarize, we've talked a great deal about it, and the subject property is, would be considered a superior house in the neighborhood. Hence, its sale price in 2010 suggested. Similar house on 6 Phantom Ridge sold for $825,000, with also high-end development. Just to bring forward evidence that property owner presented, a lot of properties there seem to be inferior in condition, in curb appeal, hence their sale price are in high $500,000. When property owner asked for price per square foot, economies of scale, nor time adjustment was considered, and we look at smaller houses on Tango Ridge Crescent that sell for $660,000 regardless of price per square foot. So within that, I believe that higher square footage houses should sell for more than $660,000. And I believe that 112 Tango Ridge is an anomaly where they have to reduce the price dramatically for whatever reason. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pauls, any requirement for summary?
Just, I think that anomaly is the fact that it's the unknown of what's going up there. I've talked to real estate agents. Like I said, I live next to one. It's an unknown what's going on out there from that inlet property. They're going to build something. But then back to your other point, I don't know if you could say that the condition of my home is nicer than these other ones. These are all these other ones that are in this list that are in the high 200s. They're all nice. They're all actually all nice homes. They all have high finishes. It is a nice area. I've been in a lot of these homes. I've driven by a lot of these homes for a lot of years. So I think, these other comparables in the high 200s are very accurate and similar to mine, without the risk of that adjacent property.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much for
Okay.
appearing, and you'll hear from us in a couple of weeks,
Okay,
or as
thank
soon
you
as
for your time.
possible. Thank you.
Have a good summer.
You too. Okay, that concludes 107 Powder Ridge Drive. Before we start the next property, is everybody okay with their parking outside? If there's a problem, go ahead and replug them in or buy it again, and we'll keep you in mind and get you back in, okay? Don't be afraid to leave, all right? Okay, next property, everybody okay? Okay. Next property on the docket is 91 Sheer Drive. Mr. McFarland, please.
Would you like to swear in, or,
Paul,
could you please state your full name for the record, please?
Kevin McFarland.
And would you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And would you like to swear? Okay. Could you state your full name for the record, please? Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I can take your evidence. 5 copies.
There's 3 exhibits I'm going to present. I'm going to cherry pick kind of specific set
Of course.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind as you go through pointing so we can catch up where you're referring to,
Absolutely.
okay? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Casey. you want to have a minute to go through the appellant's information,
Yes.
take your time. Yeah, okay, good morning.
Good morning. Just for the assessors, the second one is more or less an overview of Charleswood, so there's nothing, but.
While the assessor's doing a review of your presentation, I'm just going to state that we're dealing with a 2020 appeal that's representative of 2018 April 1st market value on the property. Okay.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. When you're ready, sir.
Okay, so subject property was a parcel ID 010056515000, street address 91 Shear Drive in River West Park, is a two-story single dwelling with a year build and effective age of 1976, 4,040 square feet of living area with a full part area basement. With a basement finish, 3 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, 1 shower, central air conditioner, 3 fireplaces, attached multi-car garage and in-ground pool. Assessed lot size 17,700 square feet, land influence at Boy adjacent. 2020 assessment roll is $773,000. Total assessment per square foot is $191.34. Comparable one is 71 Shear Drive in River West Park neighborhood, is a two-story single dwelling, 1976 year build and 1987 effective age, 3,145 square feet living area, full basement finish, two full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 1 shower, central air conditioner, attached multi-car garage and an in-ground pool. Assessed lot size 15,200 square feet, land influence at Boy adjacent. Sold in November of 2016 for $745,000. Time adjusted sale price is $766,600. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $243.75. Comparable number 2 is a 6303 South Boyne Drive in South Boyne neighborhood, is a two-story single dwelling, 1984 build and 1984 effective age. 2,808 square feet with a walkout basement and the basement finish. 3 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, 1 shower. Central air conditioner, 3 fireplaces, attached multi-car garage. Assessed lot size 11,032 square feet. Land influence at Boyne influence and the park. Sold for $735,000 in September of 2017. Time adjusted sale price $743,100. Time adjusted price per square foot is $264.64. Comparable 3 is 6411 South Boyne Drive in South Boyne neighborhood. 1.5 story single dwelling, 1925 build and 1955 effective age, 2,473 square feet. full basement with a basement finish, 3 full bathroom, 1 half bathroom and 1 shower, central air conditioner, 3 fireplaces, detached multi-car garage. Assessed lot size 24,000 square feet. Land influence is Assiniboine adjacent. In July of 2015, which is prior to April 1st, 2016, sold for $650,000. Time adjusted sale price would be $688,400, and time adjusted sale price per square foot would be $270.37. Subject property is in River West Park neighborhood, which is a smaller neighborhood, and with handful of properties Abuja and Assiniboine adjacent. The only property that was sold within the reference period that is riverfront is comparable one, which is 71 Share Drive, a smaller property by close to 895 square feet or somewhere there. Smaller lot size, sold for $745,000. Subject property itself sold in 2015 for $735,000, which shows a trend of increase in prices in the neighborhood. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of the assessor's evidence presented?
Were you able to go by my house on 91 Shire Drive or 71 Shire or any of these other homes?
I did drive by the Shire properties, yes.
Okay. Did you notice any of the renovations, i.e. all of the windows that were done on 71 Shire versus?
And they're currently undergoing a massive renovation in the front.
So that was a post-sale renovation, correct?
Sure.
Uh,
Not the windows on.
So it sold without the renovations back in November of 2016, correct?
No, the windows were done.
The renovations were done. And if you look at all, I know we're not supposed to talk about the inside, but the entire inside was redone. And if
Okay.
you take a look at our photos, they would speak for themselves that it wasn't.
Okay. To answer your question, I do not recollect seeing major renovation at 71 Share Drive.
Okay, but I guess my point was on the windows. The windows versus mine, which were the original.
I cannot answer that question.
And just on your comparable one, this was a 71 Shire is 11 years older than mine, correct? Or you start younger, so it's 87 versus 76.
Well, it has it has an effective age of 1987, correct?
Okay. The second comparable, that one was, it's 8 years younger than ours. All else being equal, what would you say is more valuable? A Assiniboine influence and a park influence, or just an Assiniboine influence?
Well, Assiniboine influence versus Assiniboine adjacent. Assiniboine adjacent would be more valuable. Park would add value to it, but Assiniboine influence versus Assiniboine adjacent, Assiniboine influence is inferior.
So an influence straddles both the park and the Assiniboine, correct?
Could you clarify the question?
I mean, it has an influence because at some point it has an influence. So it may not be directly on it, but it straddles it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And comparable 3, I mean, it's larger lot size quite significantly. And I mean, just to note, and I appreciate that, this one is outside of the scope of the reference period. it's definitely hard to find comparables, especially one for the Assiniboine adjacent, and the square footage. In mine, I'm gonna at least reference what has been done in the past, because I can appreciate the fact that it's very hard to find comparables with those two conditions. That's all the questions I have
Okay.
with regard to his evidence.
Yeah. You'll have your opportunity to present right away,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, thank you. Lynn, any questions of the assessor?
Okay, just to clarify, you've not inspected the properties?
No, I haven't.
Okay. And in terms of the quality of finish, we talked a little bit about renovations on comp one, but I'm still not sure when they were done. Were they pre-reference? Were they within the reference period, or were they post-reference? There's obviously something, because the effective age
It
is
does appear that the renovations were done before the sale.
before the sale.
So,
Okay.
based on MLS listing, it does say that 2005 some things were done, 2014, 15 other things were done. So it was updating, I guess, partially at some point in time.
So that,
Mhm.
and that's
So,
reflected
yeah,
in
and
the
the-
effective age? or-
And it would have to be. And as property owner mentioned, yes, the PVC windows were 2015 based on MLS listing.
Okay, so based on these comparables, I don't quite have a good understanding yet of the quality of finish of the subject property versus the other properties that you're using.
Well, again, there is a MLS listing for 2015 sale of subject property,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows that the family it has a remodeled kitchen and bathroom
Mm-hmm.
and a laundry room. It doesn't speak of per se any other updates like windows or anything like that. So perhaps property owner may point out that they are not they haven't been renovated, and he probably already mentioned it once.
Yeah, there's not been the updates done at all.
Okay, I have another question. I'm not familiar where South Point is, and even looking at the appellant's information, I don't see it, so I'm just wondering, how close is that to the subject property?
Well, let's look at this map somehow. So,
Yeah.
property owner provided-
Drew laughter, so
Yeah,
I don't know what
I
that
know.
means.
Yeah.
That's okay. So
Trust
when we
me,
look at it,
I understand.
so when we look at it, perimeter highway would have to be somewhere here.
Which comparable are we?
Well, I just don't know where South Point is. South Point
Okay,
Drive.
south-
So you're kind of more by the Moray Bridge, which.
You're further east.
Yeah,
Yes.
further east, like way further east. So more,
They're
closer to more
along the river, but
amenities.
not in the same neighborhood.
They're
in
not,
other
Yeah.
no,
words.
the subject property is closer to the perimeter
Right.
highway, and South Boyne would be a bit more east, so it's in, it's
Well,
following
close
it.
to the Moray Bridge is quite a bit further away than,
It's mid-Charleswood towards East Charleswood as opposed to West Charleswood, off of Dale and Barker.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Last
see Barker,
night
that's
before
why I
the-
kind of knew where I was
Yeah.
here, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know where that was. Okay. Okay, I think that's good now.
Excellent. Harvey, any questions?
Yeah, what was the property assessed at in 2016?
2016 assessment of the property was $740,000. Sorry, 2016, I do not have that number. I have 2018 and 19, $740,000.
Oh, sorry, 18 and 19, I'm talking about, yeah, that's effective though, 2016 April assessment.
Mhm.
2000, so could that be again that amount?
740.
1,000?
Yes.
And the property is purchased by the owners now, the applicants in 2015 for $735,000.
Correct.
And really, the only comparable you really have, and I know you have difficulty finding comparables, so I'm not criticizing you, but the only comparable you really have is comparable number one.
Yes, and
The other two weren't sold, are a different area, and they weren't sold within the effective period.
well, one of them, yeah, but I think comparable one is a very good comparable. It is smaller in size.
Okay, and
For,
it's sold for $243,000 a foot, as opposed to the property that we're talking about now, which is assessed at $191. But there would be the house, the subject property is much larger, so there'd be economy of scale
Exactly.
allowance.
Mhm.
And the property next door has been renovated. It appears that the subject property hasn't been.
Yes.
And the 1987 effective date, would that give credence to all the renovations, or are there some other renovations that may have been made that aren't reflected yet? In other words, I'm saying, is that a fair effective date based on the renovations that you're aware of?
I wouldn't be able to answer that question right now without looking at the property.
Do you know what renovations were made to your comparable number one?
Variable number one, let's see, if I compare listing, and then let's see what listing go. Okay, so what we have is, okay, so it looks like in 2011 they put a furnace in 2014 they did shingles, soffit and fascia 2005. Looks like the basement, like rec room in the basement was done in 2005. 2015 PVC windows. 13-14 carpet. But 2006 pool heater and
Okay, so the big one is that we did the windows in 2015.
yes.
And doors, windows and doors.
Okay.
Was there a permit taken out for those?
I cannot tell you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Harvey. Okay, subject property, showing approximately 4,000 square feet, full area, basement part area. Was there an addition added onto the house that warranted that full part area?
I believe
Or-
at one point in time, and again, that probably should have had an effect on the effective age of the subject property.
Yeah,
There was an addition built over the garage, which is
okay.
Probably a rec room, if I remember.
Yeah, like living room over the garage, okay.
Mhm.
Is that right? Yeah, okay. Okay, but the assessor at that time deemed that an age variant wasn't warranted for that addition, okay. And comp number one, the age variant, you don't think it's for an addition, but you think it's for improvements to the home, according to that MLS?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, okay. 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 Now, South Boyne Drive, those two addresses, we're still within Charleswood, are we?
Mhm.
Area, and so we're off Roblin Boulevard.
Yeah, we're still on the south side of the city boardroom.
Yeah, around Marlton Crescent, would that be accurate?
I'm not, so I'm thinking as I come off the Maury Bridge.
Yeah, turn right.
You turn right and
Yeah.
you kind of go down and it's that newer,
Where the Roblin bends
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
right there?
yeah,
Okay, that little
yeah,
pocket, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you, okay. Yeah. I know exactly where you're at then, okay. Okay, so we've got the largest house subject property, and we've got economy of scale working, reducing the assessment per square foot, I guess. Okay, sorry, I'm talking out loud here.
Yeah, no, that's-
Analyzing out loud, yeah, okay. That's all my questions, okay. Mr. and Mrs. McFarland, when you are ready, please.
Thank you. The first two exhibits I'm going to present are just more context, and then I'm going to get into my third specific examples. I mean, obviously, the main goal here was to determine what our property should be assessed at in terms of what it could sell given the reference period. And we're going to be using sales as our metric. The secondary goal, I think it should be, is the fairness and equity principle, meaning that all else being equal, if everyone else kind of goes up 5% in assessment value, probably ours should go up there as well. I'll get into that in a second. You just bear with me, I know where you're gonna go, and I'm just saying, just put a pin in it for just a second.
Okay,
Just don't jump on that, just.
no, I'm not,
Hear me out and then feel free.
yeah,
Okay, and what I wanted to say was that I think that our property is a bit out of step with what is happening in Charleswood, in River West Park, and on Shire Drive, and comparables in my neighborhood. So what I wanted to do was just, first of all, I used, my first example here was to just illustrate what was happening on Shire Drive. So I used our sales books, and this is an assessment of the 2018 versus 2020 assessment, and because I wanted to plot out every single house on my street.
so we're gonna call this page 1, okay?
Oh,
Page
yes.
1, sure.
Yeah,
Okay, put a 1 on it.
My house is at the very top here in this cluster of red. It's got a blue indicator around it, meaning we've gone up approximately 5% from the last assessment. Same with this other cluster of group, all on the riverfront property. The other 2/3 of the riverfront property had an effective increase of 0 to 3%. All non-riverfront property actually went down to, it was around 0 to negative 2.5%. So that was just giving me a context of what was happening on my street, okay? My second exhibit here, I wanted to know what was happening in Charleswood.
okay, so we're gonna call this page 2,
Sure.
2, 3, and 4, I guess, 2, 3.
And I wanted to plot out exactly what was happening in Charleswood. So these are all the sales that happened from 16 and 17 per the sales books. And all the data is per the sales books and the city of Winnipeg. And on the very right-hand side, I indicated what the difference was between what they sold for and what they're currently assessed at. And when I look at all the homes sold over $500,000, there's approximately 100 of them. Overall, the assessment went down 1%. Okay. Let's not get into any of these specifics, just this is more context. Okay. We'll call this last one page 3, exhibit 3.
Okay,
Because this gets right into our district of River West Park.
okay,
And what I wanted to show was, these were homes sold over $480,000. The top, right up here, represents homes that were sold in the last assessment period, and the bottom representing in the current assessment period. So, there's several things I want to highlight in this diagram here. The first being that my home, Banningwood Shire, did sell in 2015, November 2015. We bought it for $730,000. And right over here is our 2020 assessment, and this is what now everyone is worth at this particular moment.
yeah. Okay, sir, you know, I know that you've done a lot of work here, but we really don't put much weight in assessment comparisons, even in an analysis of what's gone up and down. And I'll give you a reason why, is because the assessments, old assessments, new assessments might not reflect what work might have been done at the time of sale and what work might have been done after the sale. So when you compare two assessment cycles, those other assessments, they may not be accurate in the first place or may not be accurate now, reflective of the condition or the characteristics of the property. So prime example was 71 Sheer Drive, where the assessment, it was probably under-assessed at the time of sale because those improvements weren't reflected. So when you analyze it, it kind of skews the numbers, if you understand what I mean.
So
I know you've done a lot of work here.
when you say under-assessed, I mean, but this is a more of a, this would have the sales that happened in the last cycle would have had a chance to realize.
Not
that-
necessarily. There might be outstanding permits that aren't reflecting the current condition of the house, where things are being left for 2 or 3 years, that the assessors haven't got to them. So it isn't necessarily an accurate, that's why we don't compare assessments. We strictly stick with, this panel will strictly stick with market evidence. And I know you've done a lot of work here.
Yeah, well,
But-
if we're-
because if he's indicating, I know, and he's grabbed one of the comparables, you know, that's out of scope. Probably the best indicator right there is the sale that occurred for 103 Shire Drive, which happened months prior to when we bought. Now,
Okay.
this home is,
But he didn't present that. That's gonna be up to you to present that.
Oh, we're not at
Evidence.
that stage?
Yeah.
Or you
Yeah,
want
you
us to-
are, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we're not gonna compare assessed values and then analyzing why yours
okay,
is right or
okay,
wrong.
no, and that's fair. Sorry, we're getting into context. Fine. Let's get into the nitty gritty here.
Okay.
103 Shire Drive.
Now, what page are we on? Sorry.
We're,
Sorry, the
page.
last one.
Three.
Last
here.
one, okay.
yeah.
Exhibit 3.
Exhibit 3 with all his
Exhibit
tables, yes.
Exhibit 3. Mine is right on the very bottom, 91 Shire Drive, and 103 was bought in 2014, and it is 4,770 square feet. Assessed land value 14,087. Same year it was built in 1976, and it is both Assiniboine and it straddles the Karen Park. It was bought at $650,000, and its current assessed value is $656,000. And that is probably I mean, there were pretty slim pickings on the type of real comparables that we can really do. And so, similar to the assessor, we're kind of struggling to find out, well, what is that and what are other, folks actually. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so to give some context within the area, the reason why you don't have a lot of homes selling is because once you kind of move in, they inherit it to their children. That's the kind of community it is. But the ones that do go up for sale have a very hard time selling at what they're listed at. So you take 23 Shire, it's been on the market for almost 2 years. It's retried now on purple bricks. It's just, they're not selling. And I think the point that Kevin was trying to get to is that the land assessed value of our area is going down, which is concerning to us in the sense that if we were to turn around it even at this point and try to sell the house, I don't know that we would get what we put into it. However, what's more concerning is that the group of us just near the end seem to be, I don't know what the rationale is to be getting such huge increases year over year. We did come back the last assessment and try to rationalize the increase for the taxes. What we asked for and what we got were a little bit different, so we're back again to try to readjust that because it doesn't seem to be within context or fair as to what's going on in the community and what's selling and what's not. And the homes, unfortunately, are sitting. But yet our taxes keep going up. The land, the assessments of what we see within the area is going down.
All right. Well, so you've presented the one comparable market evidence
Yeah.
of 103 Sheer Drive that's sold in 2014.
Well, and I agree with we're pretty slim pickings on the type of homes that we can present. 71 but there's faults with that as well. I mean, it's kind of a newer, it's on the river. You know, we're really slim pickings to find out an absolute comparable, and
And if
that's
we're to
kind
go
of,
for market, I mean, the market's not buying anything. They won't buy anything on our street unless you're putting in, you know, a ton of money for windows and doors and things, which we have not done.
yeah.
We have not upgraded the house other than keeping up our gardening and raising our kids. But what doesn't seem to be within context is the fact that our group of homes keep getting hammered by a year-over-year increase. And just as simple as looking at the red, why is this happening? You go down to the same kind of comparable homes, they're getting less, and you go even across the street to the homes that are actually comparable to us, granted not on the river, but they're going significantly down.
Yeah.
Like, what I don't understand, I
You have
mean,
homes that
this
are
is
bigger than ours across the
66
street.
Shire Drive and 115 Shire Drive went down respectively 13 and 12% from what they paid. And, you're not gonna see these people, because why would they come here and ever
Complain about
fight
it.
that, right? So, you're getting the red zone people, because it's saying that that's out of step with what is happening here. And, you're not gonna see 103 Shire here, because they're saying, and now you get us that are getting quite significant increases, which just seems to be out of step with what other
Yeah.
folks are. And so in the principle of fairness and equity, if everyone was going to be getting this, and if they had 5%, I would lick my chops and, move on and go from there. So it is a hard one, but for all those reasons, here we are today.
Yeah, the bottom line for us as a panel is whether we think the fair market value of your property is $773 if it were to be put on the market in 2018. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair and equitable question, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
my answer right now is I don't think so.
So do you know, and this might be to the assessor, do you know how long, does it indicate on your records how long our house was on the market for?
Back in 2014, you're talking about your sale.
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay, well, the listing here says 496 days on the
Mhm.
market. Original list price 924,500.
Exactly.
And if you have driven down our street, the houses that have attempted to go up are unfortunately concerning us with what the market trends are in Charleswood in that particular area. Is they're not selling and the value is going down.
And the reason, for many reasons, it was that, it was on the market for more than a year and a half ago. It started with 900, it went back to 800, and ultimately landed on 730. There was a lot of renovations that needed to happen. Those renovations haven't happened, but that's kind of where things are. And your biggest comparator, number 71, how many days was that on the market for?
Which one?
71 Shire.
Okay. That one was on the market for 16 days.
Exactly, because it had the renovations in it. I mean, so,
Just the context of all the upgrades that needed to happen, still need to happen, and why it was sat on the market for so long. It isn't apples to apples. Sure, there's more square footage, but quality-wise, it's not comparable to any others. Otherwise, it wouldn't have sat on the market for a year and a half.
and the other homes on Shire Drive currently that are sitting on the market.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to tell us? We're gonna eventually ask you for what you think the assessment should be.
Yeah.
If you think the 773 is wrong.
It is. I mean,
And we're
that
gonna
scares
ask
me.
you, we might as well deal with it now,
Yeah.
why you think it should be at that value, and whether you would settle with that value if it were to be on the market in 2018. So, please give the panel a number that you're looking for here,
Sure.
value.
I think, I think we might be consistent with with what was happening with,
You know, if you want to take a minute to discuss it.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
he's got his numbers,
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Um,
when we came back last time and the market value of what is selling, and I realized that we paid $735, which is a big gulp. But as we're looking at what is not selling in our neighborhood and how much you have to put in to even take them off the market, it does not make me feel good, unfortunately, at all. To see the value of the homes going down in market value does not make me feel good. Comparables, again, you drive down Shire, they're not selling unless you're putting in $50,000 to $75,000 in renovations inside, and I know you guys can only see outside, which is something we haven't done and are not planning on doing in the near future as we raise our children. And I think that's the first point. The second point is to the fairness and equity policy from the city of Winnipeg, you can see the red, that we seem to be a little bit of a target on that side of the street in the red zone, going up significantly more than our neighbors year over year, in whether they're on the river, but you are seeing neighbors that we look that have the nicer houses right across the street are going down.
And the MLS for the 103, you can, I can probably give you this, I can give you this copy, but it was brand new, it was newly renovated as well, so, you know, it's going for, I mean, clearly 650. It's got 700 more square feet than us. We should be in that range.
Can we keep this copy?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
because we're going to enter this. It's okay. And that was the 103 Sheer Drive on
Yeah.
Exhibit 3, okay,
Yeah.
not on the river, but separated from the river by a park, okay.
But
It
if you look at it,
straddles-
straddles the river, so you have the river, like, and again, you're kind of a family street, it straddles the river. So you have the river, they put their boats, they launch, but you also have the beautiful Karen Park, the open space that is just, it's gorgeous. So I don't know what you consider, I guess, from the tax standpoint, but that house on their backyard is absolutely beautiful, so.
Okay. Did you see that?
Which one?
The one-
103.
No, I didn't yet.
Would you like to look at it?
Sure.
Because we're gonna. No. Okay, Lynn, any questions of the appellant? Appellants?
So just following up on the chair's question about what value you're requesting on your home, what you think it would sell for, would have sold for in 2018, what is that number?
I don't think we've moved much past where our original purchase price of $735 would be. Unfortunately, I think we've slid down if I'm to look at what's happening down our street, unfortunately. And even at that, we would still then have to put in $70,000 to $100,000 to come near what they're selling on our bay, on our drive, which is,
When you look at every single, we've got about 5 different sliding doors that would have to be replaced, along with all of the windows on there. That isn't easily, I'm sure.
to
all the
redo the windows,
too,
you're
yeah.
looking at anywhere
Yeah.
between $50,000 and $75,000. The amount of money to get what we put back into it,
Have you had estimates on what it would take?
yeah, we're looking anywhere between $50,000 and $70,000 to redo the windows.
I mean, it's dated as per, you know,
They're
they
the
stopped
original,
renovating
yeah.
in the early 80s. Everything was purple and flowers when we moved in. And,
It still is if you want to
yeah.
come to our
Yeah.
purple flower bathrooms.
Anything else, Lynn?
No, I don't
Okay,
think so.
Harvey, any questions?
So basically, you did a lot of work here. Unfortunately, most of it is not really applicable. But one thing I'm looking at is the city has used as their comparable 71 Shire, which is on your street.
Mhm.
Right.
And according to your exhibit number 3, you're showing that the sale price is $745, which agrees with what the city has. And it's now assessed at $791,000, according to
The-
what you have.
Yes.
So basically, the city has got to assess that, well, considerably more than it sold for.
But they're the ones that have put in all those renovations.
I understand, but
yeah.
the assessment's based on
Mhm.
2018.
Mhm.
So that would have been done by then.
No, they're currently doing the renovations.
Currently doing the
They're
renovations.
currently, as
So
of
they've,
this
so
summer.
since they purchased the property, they've done more to it.
No, the property sat, I'm talking as you drive down our
No,
street
no,
right
I'm saying,
now.
since they bought
Yes.
the house for $745,000, you're saying it's been improved since then.
No, they're currently improving it, so nothing has been assessed at this point. The improvements have not been made. They're painting right now, they're
Okay, painting would be-
taking, sorry, I'm missing your
Yeah,
question.
painting, well, basically, what you have right now is a city, you're saying the 2020 assessment,
Mhm.
which is based on April 1st, 2018.
Yes.
For that property is $791,000,
Mhm.
and it sold for $745,000.
Yes, so that would have reflected, I think, once you've gone into the property, you've seen everything finished once
No,
they've
I
gone.
understand, but
Yes.
are you saying then if nothing's been done since then, that's the basis of the 2018, before these renovations were made, that the property then is overassessed based on the sale price?
Absolutely, and that's
Yeah.
the reason for all
No,
of.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and.
Okay, so technically, I did the calculation, and it looks like the property then sold for 94% what it's now assessed at.
That's what we're trying to explain, is that
Yeah,
the
okay.
values of our area are not holding.
Okay, okay, I see that.
Yeah,
It's a good point.
they're,
I think you answered my question, I think I answered my
Yeah.
own question, but, so if we were to take a 94% of your assessed value, you're saying we'd probably get down to about what you paid for it some years ago.
which is why, I mean,
Okay,
And just to be
Doesn't
clear,
feel
your
good, but
your
yes.
earlier question of what the earlier assessments were at before, you know, the city had,
We're not gonna.
no, that's
we're not
okay,
gonna
yeah,
go
we don't have to
Okay.
go back there.
but it was at.
You just answer the
900,
questions I'm
still
asking you
over.
right now, we're running out of
Yeah.
time, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's
No,
well.
we're not gonna go there.
Okay.
Because
Thank
we're
you.
not gonna put much weight in it, to be honest with you. Okay. Anything else, Harvey?
No, that's it, thanks.
Did I ask the assessor any questions? I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't,
Lost track.
I did not ask any questions yet,
apologize.
so,
okay.
I guess, so you used the 103 shared drive as an example, correct?
Mhm.
And did you mention that it had updates or something like that?
For the,
Pictures.
When I read this, I don't see any, since it mentions updates or renovations that were done to this house.
I'm sorry, say that one more time?
When I read the description, I didn't see anything that says that things were updated in 103 shared drive.
well,
The
that's,
photos
those
show
are
the updates.
It's
So
a
if I
newer-
look at the photos of your property, it also shows things that not as bad as they show, like it's a nice house, right?
Yeah.
Or would
Oh,
you
yeah.
like to, you can pass those along to show and do the comparable by all means.
It's, and our point exactly is that it's extremely
It'd be
dated.
comparable and dated.
extremely dated versus theirs is modern, absolutely.
Okay. With panel one still?
Yeah,
You mind
please,
taking
take a
that?
look.
Cool. There you go.
So that one's 660 and we're sitting at,
Further their point that it was on the market for a year and a half and needs a lot of TLC.
I think we have to keep those for evidence too. Yeah.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
To get my other question is, we have to look at comparable sales to determine the value.
Mhm.
You are aware of. So within the information presented, within the reference period, 71 shared drive is probably the best comparable because of the location and similar conditions of the house. It is a smaller house, and would you agree that smaller houses sell for less money than larger houses?
No, not
No.
necessarily. When you take a look at, there's two homes that are very.
I think he means per square foot. They
Right.
sell per square foot less, is that what you mean?
I guess the question is that the quality of the house really determines, and renovations
value.
determine that. When I look at the value, the homes sold in the reference period, there were two homes, same square footage, both on the river. One sold for $525 and the other one sold for $850. And that was $3179 value and $3527 value.
What page were you on?
Well, those are part of the sales books.
Just as
In,
blow up
in
of the
section,
sale.
in section, sorry, 630, there are two homes, because your question was two homes, all else being equal, one, you know, the square footage should determine, higher value. And I'm just qualifying that by saying that it absolutely depends. It depends on the renovations, it depends on the year. So that was my
But then again,
response.
all else being equal, larger properties would sell for more than a smaller property. Everything else being equal.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So when we look back at 71, it is a smaller property, but it has renovations. Your property that also has some renovations, probably not as much as 71 Shared Drive, but it's larger. So would you agree that larger property, less renovation would amount to similar would weigh each other out in some cases?
It depends. I mean, if you're looking at a 1980s home that hasn't been fully renovated, and as a buyer saying, geez, I gotta put $100,000, $150,000 in there, I think that's where we're kind of at, and that's the conundrum of this house, was that it's sat for so
Yeah.
long with that.
Yeah, but you would agree that 3,000.
I think we're getting hypothetical here, and
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions?
No, actually, no, I don't have any other questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And my only question is, just to confirm, you're asking for us to adjust the assessment that's to $735,000?
We had asked for $699 a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I mean, it would be fair between, in our opinion, between $700 and $725. But even at that, if you're asking me to ask you for a number, that would be my number. But do I think the market will give us back that at this point or during these assessment periods from what we're seeing on our street? Absolutely not.
But we're looking at 2018, if it were to be on the market. That's
They're
what
not
number we're
selling.
looking at, okay?
Yeah,
Okay, but I need
a number.
a number.
Okay.
I would like a number.
You'd like a number.
Okay.
We would like.
We'd like a number, okay.
You know what, I'm gonna say, I would say 720 for several reasons. One, we needed a lot of renovations, and based on this comparable, that, of what 71 Shire and the amount of work and effort that they would have to put in there,
Yeah.
we're well below it.
Okay,
Notwithstanding the square footage, there's a lot of work that needs to go in there, and we're well below that one, and that's
And-
what they sold for.
and my last question is, after the sale in 2015, what did you do in the way of upgrades into the home?
Nothing, unfortunately, I had children.
Nothing at all, no.
We
No,
moved the
you
gas
asked-
line, we moved the gas line, that's
line,
pretty
that
much
was
it.
it.
New flooring or anything like
Nothing.
new
I,
fixtures in the washrooms or?
nothing. You could come into our house right
No.
now. My daughter loves her
Yeah.
purple flowers. so we're-
No, decks or anything like that?
Nothing.
The addition was
Nothing.
on there, okay.
Yeah.
All right, any requirement for a summary?
No, I think that to summarize that comparable one selling at 745, time adjusted 766, smaller house, given renovations and that probably if subject property per property owner required about $75,000 to $100,000 per renovations, this being smaller required less dollars per renovation. But given the size and renovations, I think that 773 is a fair assessment. Thank you.
Thank you.
My only final thing is if it's hard to find those comparables, but you look at 103, it's assessed less. And if you look at the market, we're being targeted over there, and If you drive down our street, the houses are sitting for years and not selling.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
leave it with us, and that concludes 91 Sheer Drive. Thanks for appearing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we are going to have to take a quick recess, okay, sir? So, thank you.
Can you guys just wait till I turn off the camera?
Thanks, Kelsey. Okay, I will now call the hearing back to order. Next property on the docket is Mr. Smith at 403 Oxford Street. Please come forward, sir.
Would you like to swear in? And could you please state your full name for the record?
Stephen Smith.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry. Do you have any evidence?
I do.
5
I'll take-
copies should be.
Yes, there's 5 here.
Thank you.
And yeah, even your 6 there. I'll take the
Yeah.
last one.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you.
There you are.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Smith, we're going to give the assessor an opportunity to review your presentation, okay? In the meantime, I'm going to confirm that we're dealing with, 403 Oxford Street, and that's 2020 appeal for the realty assessment assessed value. Take your time there, Mr. Assessor.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Subject property with a parcel ID 120414050000. Street address 403 Oxford Street in North River Heights. All of the four comparables provided are in North River Heights neighborhood. Subject property is a two-story dwelling. All of the comparables are two-story dwellings. Subject property was built in 2010 with 2010 effective age, 2,467 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 3 half bathrooms and 2 showers, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace and detached multi-car garage. 4,810 square feet of assessed lot size, and land influences are pass-through, external corner and the light traffic. 2020 assessment is $914,000. Total assessment per square foot is $370.49. Comparables, number 1 is 158 Prokova Street, is a two-story single dwelling, 1925 built with 2,000 effective age, 2,319 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 2 showers, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace and a detached single car garage. 5,237 square feet of assessed lot size. Time adjusted sale price of $921,500. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $397.37. Sold in October 2016. Comparable to is 270 Niagara Street, 1927 year build and 1997 effective age, 2,036 square feet, full basement and the basement finish. 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 2 showers, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, attached multi-car garage, lot size 4,410 square feet. Okay, time adjusted sale price is $839,700. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $412.43. Sold in June of 2017. 185 Waverly is comparable number 3. 1922 build and 1972 effective age, 2,316 square feet, full basement and the basement finish, 1 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 2 showers, no central air conditioner, 1 fireplace and attached multi-car garage, 7,216 square feet full outside. Sold in August of 2016 with time adjusted sale price of $751,500. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $324.48. 250 Oak Street is a 2-story single dwelling with a 2015 year build and 2015 effective age, 2,115 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 1 shower, central air conditioner, no fireplaces, attached multi-car garage, 4,824 square feet full lot size. Sold in February of 2015, which is prior to April 1st, 2016 normal reference normal time frame. Sold time adjusted sale price is $749,900. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $348.79. Subject property was inspected on June 29, 2019. It appears to be done at a high level of degree of finishes. Some problems were noted by property owner currently observed is a small gash on the floor with a scratch and another gash on the upstairs floor in the bedroom. He has 10-foot ceiling height for a basement finish, a 9-foot ceiling height everywhere else. There were some structural issues. Subject property was sold a couple of times, once in 2015 for $860,000 and second time in 2017 for $905,000. Both times were private sales. Current property owner had some structural issues with the house that were since cured. There were permits taken to to work with teleposts and basement level development because of some ground shifting. But upon inspection on June 2019, it would appear that things have been corrected. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sir, any questions on the assessor's evidence at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. Lynn, any questions of the assessor?
So this was a newer home built in 2010?
Correct.
Okay. Comparables 1 and 2 and 3 look to be older homes that have had some level of renovation,
Correct.
varying. Comp 3 is 1972, so that's still pretty dated, wouldn't you think?
Yes.
Okay. So, and then Comp 4, also a newer home.
Correct.
For Comp 1, 2, and 3 then, what would be the quality of the interior or home relative to a brand new property or relatively new
I
property?
believe comp number 1 would be the best comparable to subject
Of all the comparables or based on the reno ones?
of all the comparables. Basically, what they did on comparable number 1 is they took a 1925 house and added square footage.
Added square footage to it.
So that changed the curb appeal of the house to look modern.
Okay.
And level of renovations, very more or less things that I could share it with the board once. Let's see.
I like to see pictures actually because it helps me
Okay.
understand the house better.
So it's a contemporary open concept, second story, so there's lots of features. Let's see, I don't want to read the whole thing, so just.
No, that's okay. We can look at it too.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll probably just pass it on to you guys and just take a look at
Okay.
it.
And then comparable 4 is a newer home.
It is a new home, yes, it's 2015 built. I do not have much information on it, so
Okay.
I cannot tell whether it was new home, 2,150 square feet with a basic interior finish, or whether it has more superior, like subject
Okay.
property had superior finishes.
Okay. So would you say that the subject property then is superior to comparable 1?
Based on the, I guess, based on the size, based on number of balconies and decks, and subject property would be superior. Year build as well would make it superior, ceiling heights perhaps.
But it is, also I note that it does have some land influences. What's the corner there?
Oxford and Grosvenor.
Grosvenor,
Grosvenor?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's right on the Grosvenor, and it does have influence of, yes, Grosvenor being a bit busier street. But again, subject property would have multi-car detached garage, whereas comparable 1 would have single-car detached garage, and of course the level of renovations above grade, I would say they would be very similar with comparable 1 having an original basement that dates back to 1925.
Okay. Just a question about properties in relation to Wellington Crescent. Do you find, or is the influence of Wellington Crescent play a role the further you get away or the closer you get? I'm just not really sure. On the other side of Academy versus...
Well, Wellington Crescent would be a more superior neighborhood the
Yes.
closer you are to it, of course.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, what I probably noticed is Wellington Crescent probably can only has so much room, so it probably does seem to be expanding beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah, just my personal observation.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Lynn. Harvey, any questions?
Yes, so you basically have, this is an infill house.
correct.
And I see that there was a sale in 2008 for $190,000. Would that be land only, or was there a house there that was demolished?
I brought some permits, let me just take a look at, hopefully it will shed some light to the,
If I could interject just to speak, it was a complete new foundation from the ground up when it was built originally, after the first sale. So it would have just been land.
It was just vacant land, so $190,000 is a lot.
Maybe they destroyed whatever was on there, but
No,
it was.
but the 190 was the lot price. It was,
I believe so.
okay.
yes, but, because 2008 sale and 2010 built, right?
No, I want to know, because I want to know if there was a house that was demolished, because that would have some influence. Now, I know that all these properties are older and renovated, and I know you have a difficulty, because this area is an older area, so it's hard to find new houses in that area. So that's why you put in your comparable number 4, which even though it was sold out of the time span, or because you have another house that's new there. And that house has got a attached garage, double attached. I'm talking about comparable number 4.
Number 4, yes.
And,
Those number
this-
4, number 3.
and the subject property has got a detached
Correct.
two-car garage, so would you agree with me that an attached garage is superior to a detached?
Definitely.
Okay, and also, all of your other comparables are farther north. This is the most farthest south property you have, farthest away from Lutheran Crescent. If you look at the address,
Yeah. Yes.
okay? And you'd agree that prices, similar to once you get past Grosvenor for sure, prices start going down a little bit, and they don't go up again until you get quite far south, River Heights.
Well, there's an effective price, yes, the far south as well.
Now, if you look at your comparable number 4, which I know is out of time, but I think it's a very valuable one to have given us, and I thank you for it. Based on, I know you can't manufacture your comparables, you have to take what's there. It's sold for just the price of $348,000, or $340 a foot. And the subject property have assessed at $370.49. Why would you have a higher assessment on your property, the subject property?
The subject property also sold within the reference period 495. And subject property would have, therefore, would reflect higher end finishes that subject property has.
Even without the attached multiple garage?
Exactly, and I don't know exactly comparable number 4, whether it's a basic average interior finish house or whether it's a higher end. I cannot tell.
Okay, so basically you're relying then heavily on the 2017 sale at $905,000.
But there is also 2015 sale, right, which is $860,000. So subject property sold twice prior to April 1st, 2018.
Okay, that's my questions, thank you.
Am I allowed to ask a question now or no?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can you make the comparison based on the 2015 property? You've never been inside in terms of the finishings. You know, I mean, it's sold for less cost per square foot, and you're saying you're comparing the finishings inside compared to mine without being inside. I know it's somewhat speculative,
It is,
but that seems kind of strange.
yeah, I can answer that. It is there. It's, again, due to the limited available of properties. I think comparable number 1, and they've been inside your house, I've seen it. There is MLS listing of comparable number 1. I think comparable number 1 is probably the best comparable to your property. And the sale of your property itself twice shows that the market, that it is a higher end house. It has higher end finishes and it's not cheaply built.
Okay. Anything else arising, or you good? Okay. Okay, my question is the inspection recently done in June of 2019
Yes.
regarding the structural problems that were going on with the house. Can you detail, did you inspect it, or was there another assessor there?
I inspected it for condition of the house. As far as the structural things, property owner told me that it has been corrected.
It had been, I'm sorry?
It has been corrected.
It has been corrected, okay, so, Okay, we'll find out from the owner. But there was apparently some shifting in the foundation and radiating upwards throughout the house with cracking noted around the corner of the doors and that kind of thing.
No, there wasn't any cracking above.
Oh, there wasn't?
We caught it early, which is good.
Okay, yeah. So it was just a matter of getting professionals in to adjust the telepost, the beam, or?
Well, I'll get into it a bit.
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer right now? Or?
No, okay, we'll determine, okay, so, but the assessor determined that it's being rectified and there's no problem
Correct.
as of this date. Okay, is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, okay.
As of this date, April, June 29th, or as of April 1st?
Current physical condition?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right, that was my only question. Well, actually, and the 2017 sale was a private sale,
Yeah.
and we're located on the corner of Grosvenor, and so we've got a bus route, a light bus route, limited bus route going around there, okay, down Grosvenor, okay. All right. Okay, that's all my questions. Okay, sir. Mr. Smith, whenever you're ready, please.
Okay, so hopefully I've got some
And is your
reasonable-
parking meter okay?
Thank you
Did
for
you wanna
asking,
check?
yes.
Yeah, you're okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so we bought the house in, it was August of 2017. Just go through the documents that I brought for you. So the currently assessed value is $914,000. The previous assessment was $804,000, so that's about $110,000 or 13.5% increase over 2 years. I'll talk about the work that we did in a few minutes, but without any substantial changes to the interior or exterior of the property. So the next page shows the purchase price of $860,000. This is all, stuff that we've talked about already. So that was done 2 years prior to when we bought it. And then the next page shows what we paid for it, which is $905,000. Of note, this sale was done about 10 months or so before the assessment value dated back to April 2016. So that didn't really change the assessed value from the city, even though it was sold for $860,000, which was a private sale. It wasn't tested on the public market. As well, when I bought my house, it was also a private sale. The next page is sorry, maybe a poorly done Excel spreadsheet, but it does show some numbers here. Yes, correct.
Okay, I'm calling it page 5, okay.
So as we've alluded to already, the River Heights area is kind of a difficult area, I think, to get new homes sort of assessed, because there's not very many. The reason we wanted to purchase this house and didn't, wait for it, is because we wanted a new house in this area. So our house, 403 Oxford, is the top one there. So I just compared square footage versus the assessed value. This is up, and this is last week's numbers on the internet. The land area, square footage, the year it was built, followed by the cost per square foot of living, and then the cost per square foot of land at the property. Now, the first group of houses are sort of just on my street, on my block and one block north. So they're, a range of houses that were built in various years. And you can see that mine is the highest assessed value in terms of square footage, both for the house and for the land. If you go down one section at 373 Montrose, that was built in 2012 from the ground up. It was a new build. Has a larger square footage and a larger square footage of living space and of land, and it was assessed a lot lower and they're paying less.
Just to be clear, these are assessment values?
Correct.
Analysis, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And then Wellington Crescent as well, multi-million-dollar homes there, and the square footage per land is a lot less than mine. So just to get into the next page, just to get into exactly kind of what happened in terms of the building that we had to do. When we moved into the house, we realized that the toilet in the basement was lifted off the floor and there was substantial heaving of the soil underground. So we have a wood floor suspended over a crawl space. It's not a cement floor. Yeah. So we went into the crawl space and learned the ground and heaving up. And the way to fix this was to tear apart the whole basement, excavate it, look at what's going on. We did that and we realized there were some significant deficiencies with the foundation. So we had to replace the weeping tiles, the wrong weeping tiles were used, we had to secure the teleposts, secure the I-beams, none of that was done. However, when the city had assessed the house, they were under the impression that this was all done because the permits were all done and closed, okay? And then my last page there is that just, you know, we didn't do anything that we, you can see the permits that we did, we put everything back to place, the floor plan was unchanged. We actually built the whole basement back to the centimeter, we saved all the finishings that were in there. So it's now a fully done basement. So without wasting more of your time, that's the information I have and the evidence I have. So biggest thing is that this house has not been tested on the public market at all, it's been 2 private sales. And over 2 years, the proposed increase assessed value has gone up 13.5% without any significant work being done. I mean, you may say that the structural foundation work was significant and it was a major renovation. However, this I don't think should change the assessed value because the city was under the impression that everything was fine to begin with. And we didn't change anything inside of the house.
Okay. Mr. Assessor, any questions of the appellant?
Actually, probably, I don't, like, it's, no, I don't have any other questions as a board.
Okay, thank you. Lynn, any questions with you?
I do have a
Helen?
question just about your permit page. So the permits that were taken out after you purchased the property would be the ones from 2018 and
Yeah.
up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the value of those permits? What was it?
For the
You-
work.
You put
that was
in some
done?
money, yeah.
Oh, yeah, gosh, it was probably about $120,000 worth of work.
And you said it was a private sale? Can you explain a little bit about, like,
The
Purple
circumstances
Bricks? Like, I don't know, was
Sorry?
it wasn't on MLS, was it
No.
on Purple Bricks or one of those, or?
No, it was a friend of a friend, so we have a real estate agent who's a friend of ours, and he knew the original person who built the
I
house,
see.
and so he was involved in all the sales of it.
Okay.
The guy that was living there prior to us had split up with his partner and wanted to get rid of the house quickly, and we were looking for a house of this caliber in the neighborhood, so we bought it. The reason that we paid $45,000 more was because this fellow who was selling it wanted to get his money out, and he wouldn't be selling for less, and that would cover basically the real estate legal fees from the sale.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Harvey, any questions?
Okay, so what do you think it should be assessed at?
Well, I think based on the assessment from previously, as well as the houses in the area, I mean, it goes up generally like 4 to 5% every 2 or 2 to 3% every 2 years. So I think 840, 845 would be reasonable based on the area.
Notwithstanding that you bought it in 2017 for $905.
Yeah, I think we overpaid for it based on the area.
Bless you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Harvey. Okay. So you paid $905,000, I guess, unaware that there was these issues going on in the basement, and so you're basically into it for $1 million, including the repairs, to rectify the problem that was there when you purchased it, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And are you confident it's being rectified? So far, so good?
I'm not an engineer, but I'm
Yeah.
relying on their opinion, and they
Okay.
say that it is. Yeah.
Okay, so what we had here was I guess a 10-foot basement wall, and then a subfloor, a wood subfloor put in, crawl space underneath, and, until they removed the sheathing on the basement floor to expose, to get inside there, I guess,
Yeah.
and rectify the sump pump pit and the way the teleposts were attached to the.
Yeah, well, I mean, they weren't even attached.
Yeah.
They weren't even attached.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, we're showing some basement finish, was that removed, has it been replaced? Have you got, like, drywalls being repaired, or the carpeting put down again, that kind of thing?
The only thing we changed is we use a vinyl floor instead of carpet. Everything else is exactly the way it was.
Okay, so it is, you'd consider it to be accurate when they say when the assessor says there's basement finish?
The basement finish, yeah.
Still in there. And is the plumbing count accurate, 2 full bath, 3 half bath, 2 showers? That's all, none of that has changed?
It hasn't changed.
Okay, okay. Okay. I think that's all my questions. Mr. Assessor, requirement for summary?
No, I guess, to summarize, I think that subject property is built superior to, yes, is superior, has been superiorly designed and built. It has high ceiling height with a finished basement ceiling of height of 10 feet. Comparables are harder to find, like comparable number 1 has been completely redesigned and also superiorly built, and it's a bit less in square footage. Its time adjusted sale price per square foot is 397. Subject property does have some land influences there. Newer house sold within the reference period for $905,000. So as a value, in my opinion, of $914 is fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, any requirement for summary?
Yeah, like just the drastic change in the cost or the assessed value of the house over 2 years. I mean, I'm a little bit hung up on, you asked how much money we put into the house in terms of the repairs for those permits. Didn't change anything in terms of the how the house looks.
No.
So I don't know whether that's really relevant. Is that relevant to you think? In terms of the value of the house?
No. I mean, the panel will discuss it, but
Okay.
I think I'm fair in saying on behalf of all of us that was required to rectify a problem with the house. So it doesn't add any value, it just, it returns the house to the normal condition it should be in if it were in the marketplace. So you're not gonna get penalized for spending that money.
Okay.
No, you're correcting it to a normal condition.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
or an average condition, I guess, is what's expected of an age that house. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much for appearing. And leave it with us and you'll hear from us as soon as possible, okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks. And that would conclude, no, it does not, I'm sorry. Okay,
Centered.
we'll wait for the, I want to leave and then deal with the last one. No show. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, we have one property remaining on the docket. It's 63 Stanford Bay, and we're going to recess to discuss how we're going to proceed with that property, okay? Please. Okay, I will call the hearing back to order. Okay, in the appellant's absence, Mr. Assessor, we are going to hear 63 Stanford Bay. When you're ready, please go through the brief with us, please.
Subject property is first parcel ID 100045444400. Street address 63 Stanford Bay in South Tuxedo. Is a two-story single dwelling, 1976 year built and 1976 effective age, 2,384 square feet of living area, full basement, no basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 1 half bathroom, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, attached motor car garage and an in-ground pool. Lot size 10,364 square feet. Land influence, external corner and school. 2020 assessment roll is $540,000. Total assessment per square foot is $226.51. Okay. Comparable number 1 is 31 Ramsgate in South Tuxedo, 2-story single dwelling, 1980 year build and effective age, 2,468 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 1 shower, central air conditioner, 3 fireplaces, attached multi-car garage and an in-ground pool, 11,197 square feet of landing, assessed lot size, land influence is bus road and heavy traffic. Time adjusted sale price $632,800. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $256.40. Sold in April of 2017. Comparable to is 102 Hopwood Drive, South Tuxedo. 2 one-story single dwelling, 1985 year build and 1985 effective age. 2,511 square feet of living area. Full part area for basement type, basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms and 1 shower, central air conditioner, no fireplaces, attached multi-car garage and an in-ground swimming pool, 9,082 square feet of lot size, no influences, time adjusted sale price $589,300, time adjusted sale price per square foot is $234.69, sold in September of 2017. Comparable 3 is 29 Casberston Avenue in Tuxedo, 2-story single dwelling, 1973 year build and effective age, 2,190 square feet of living area, full basement and the basement finish, 1 full bathroom, 2 half bathroom and 1 shower, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, attached multi-car garage, no swimming pool, 9,002 square feet of assessed lot size. Time adjusted sale price $582,000. Time adjusted sale price per square foot is $265.75. Sold in July of 2017. Comparable 4 is 30 Lancaster Boulevard in Tuxedo. 2-story single dwelling, 1973 year build and effective age, 2,362 square feet of living area, full basement and basement finish. 1 full bathroom, 3 half bathrooms, 1 shower, central air conditioner, 1 fireplace, attached multi-car garage, no swimming pool, 11,505 square feet of lot size, land influence park. Time adjusted sale price $581,400. Time adjusted sale price per square foot $246.15. Sold in June of 2016. So, thank you.
Thank you. And any questions of the assessor?
Did you inspect the property?
July 5, 2019, I spoke to property owner Nicholas Luizos. At that time, he said he couldn't be able to make it, and I was going to schedule inspection at the time of my call. At the time, he said that he cannot make the hearing, and I provided him board of revision contact so he can contact you to reschedule. That's all. That's the extent of conversation with the property owner.
Well, there was no inspection then
No.
done or scheduled. Okay. In relation to these other properties, which one do you think is the best comparable and why? Some are just outside the neighborhood area and not,
Well,
I'm not really.
I think we should stick to South Tuxedo.
Uh-huh.
I think the comparable one is probably the better comparable because it's closest to such property in building style, building type. It has, negative influences of bus route and heavy traffic because it's on Ramsgate.
Mhm.
Other than that, it has swimming pool, many features are very similar, close in square footage,
I know that
except
it-
for basement finish.
Yeah, basement finish,
Yeah.
number of fireplaces is
Oh yeah,
is
fireplace
different
still,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But again, like it's reflected in the sale price.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Will. Then, Harvey, any
I don't have
questions?
any questions, thank you.
And neither do I. So that concludes the hearing in absence of the owner for 63 Stanford Bay. Thank you very much, and that concludes our hearing today.